welcome to the Early Years Insights. I'm Kathy Leatherbarrow from Eden, and today I've got Laura, Head of Early Years, and Natalie, Head of Operations from Banana Moon. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining me. Yeah, thank you for joining me today. Right, apprenticeships.
Well, I was an apprentice, so I'm all for apprenticeships. I'm a big advocate.
And, you know, there's a big government drive as well, isn't there, at the moment about early years apprenticeships.
Yeah.
Obviously, we love early years apprenticeships here at Eden. And then obviously we've got a great partnership with yourselves. But if it's a good quality nursery and setting and you've got that good support along with a good training provider, you're going to really grow good quality staff, aren't you? Yourself, that you can just lead on a pathway to excellence.
We've
really,
got
in a good career.
A lot of our directors of our individual nurseries now saying that kind of grow your own
talent.
That's kind of a really important phrase at the moment as such, but it's important to have that within the nurseries to say that, you know, we have got a recruitment crisis, you know, many sectors do, but particularly in the early years. So if you are able to attract talented individuals that are interested in an apprenticeship that you can train and mould, and then you really can grow your own workforce. And we're really seeing that in our network, aren't we?
Yeah, it's absolutely vital. And I think, you know, we've gone with it. It's something our director's been talking about for a while, hasn't he? He's always said we need a scheme that goes from apprentice to manager, and how do we help them through that journey? So obviously we've been working with yourselves now. So between Banana Moon and Eden, we are going to be looking at developing something that takes them, that when that apprentice starts, that we're not just going to stop it once you've got your level 2 or your level 3. We want to be growing our own. We want you to be a future leader at Banana Moon. So putting everything into place, and that's down to their induction right the way through to induction as an apprentice, right the way through to their induction as a manager. And the way we've tackled that is through working again with Eden to develop a induction document that supports them to really understand our curriculum and what it means to deliver an inspiring curriculum at Banana Moon, but also to support them with their course content. So when they're looking at their themes, how does each element of our curriculum relate to the theme that they're working on through their apprenticeship? We're very lucky that on our team we've got somebody who has delivered apprenticeships as well. So again, she understands it. She uses the same language as you do as well. So she's been able to be that go-to between, so translating your Eden's language to our language, and again, even having that as a terminology buster, so we understand when we're using one word and their tutors use another, helping them understand that means the same thing. So helping it be as easy as possible for them to understand the content and how they support each other.
And that sometimes can be a difficulty, can't it? Because if you've got a curriculum that you're working to yourself in terms of your learning through your apprentice, and then a curriculum that you are on within the nursery setting itself that on paper don't look like they correlate. And I think that's just mind blowing from the side,
because if you think, if you look at the areas of learning, so the areas of learning named in Development Matters, for example, are not the same areas of learning that we name. So we've created, so to make it confusing for them. So we've created a toolkit to make sure that they understand where that correlates between. And the way we've done it is to try and streamline it and make it easier for EYPs. But you've got to make sure that they know how the two correlate from day one, because we're trying to make their life easier, not more difficult. We want their apprenticeship to be a positive experience, not a, oh gosh, where am I? And again, we've got nurseries that are just so wonderful at supporting apprentices. We've got nurseries out there across the network that they'll have a WhatsApp group that's their current apprentices and their apprentices from have just graduated, and they'll be in the same WhatsApp group.
So mentor group,
like a little mentor group to support each other, and that's wonderful practice. Then they share the work they're doing with other nursery managers. Then other nursery managers can put that in place with them, and it helps all those little tips and tricks help those apprentices feel supported. So I think it
empowers learning, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. And this is just the start of the journey. You know, it's not been we've not been working together in partnership for that long, really. It's quite a young partnership, but we are looking forward to being able to do that straight from apprentice to manager, and even, you know, area managers where we have multiple unit franchisees. It's, again, that's something that we can look at for those.
And I think it's important for people looking at entering this sector as well, as in, it's not a dead-end job, is it?
Well, we've got some really special stories now where we've got managers in our network who have worked their way up through Banana Moon. They've become managers, then they've become area managers, and they've now actually become directors of the businesses. So the owners of those nurseries have said, you've been on this journey with me. You have supported me all the way through this. I am now going to give you a piece of this company. Yeah. So they are now business owners. Wow. And that is really special for them, because you're absolutely right. Sometimes people don't see early years as a career. They see it as almost a stopgap at times. But we have got some really, really beautiful stories of people working their way up and becoming business owners. Yeah. And I just think that's so lovely.
And it's about, like you said, Laura, developing a CPD path and a qualification path that supports that, isn't it? You know, it's not just you've done your level 3. You're a nursery nurse now.
Yeah. You are gold dust.
Well, yeah. You are.
The ball's in your court. The ball is definitely your court.
But that's life.
But it can be in our court as well. Yeah. You know, because there is growth available for you here. And I think that's what we've all got to do. Yeah. As a manager, you should want people snapping at your heels for your job. Yeah. It makes you a better manager. It makes you better at what you do. If the team you're developing can live without you. If you can go on annual leave and they don't need you, you've done your job right.
Perfect.
That's a good manager, isn't it? You know, or they're on leave and the Ofsted knocks at the door. You know,
that happens.
It happens a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had to, you know, a manager who's also franchisee. She was on holiday, and it was the deputy's
brother's wedding.
Second day of being in charge on her own, and it happened. But she coped. She did it, and she was wonderful.
She did so well. She got a good. She was very happy. But yeah, that's because she had trained, she'd learned, she'd listened, she'd been inducted well. She knew she had a support team. So granted, she picked up the phone and she was a bit shaky, and she said, Ofsted here, but we said, don't worry, you've got this. And she did, she absolutely did. And the inspector praised her and said, you know, well done, you were able to answer all my questions today, and it's clear that you've had the right support to be able to be ready for this next step
and confident.
And actually, she's a success story for us for the whole network anyway, because she did leave Banana Moon and went somewhere else, and then was like, I just miss your curriculum so much. I miss what you offered. I miss how good the induction was. She came back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we are seeing an increase of that. And I think, although technically Banana Moon does have a network of independent nurseries, because they are all owned independently, there is always that element of the big chains, the big players in the network, you know, familiar names that we all know. There is always that kind of shadow of those bigger nurseries and those bigger chains. And I think we are always at risk of our staff members going to those nurseries and looking for a higher pay rise and looking for more money. But actually what we're starting to see is that shift in people who are saying, you know, the curriculum's important to me, the wellbeing offering is important to me. It's not just the hourly rate or the salary. It's actually about the feeling in that nursery and how I'm made to feel, or the career journey I can go on.
It impacts your life and your enjoyment of your life.
Absolutely.
And your well-being outside of work.
We've seen a huge increase in people coming back and saying that's really important to me, and I missed that when I wasn't here. So it's credit to our managers and our franchisees in the network, because that's the work they've done.
And I mentioned earlier that we have a wellbeing pledge for families. We also have a wellbeing pledge for early years professionals, and you mentioned earlier about happy staff, happy children, and our curriculum puts the staff member at the heart alongside the child, because you can only be an effective teacher if you are supported. You can only engage for prolonged periods if you're comfortable. You can only be the best you can be if your environment is allowing you to do that. So I think it's, that is something that we try to really instill within the network. But equally, the managers and franchisees also do the same.
They do, and it even goes down to things like in our baby rooms. So if you are a staff member in that baby room, you're probably on the floor for quite a lot of the day. Our knees go, don't they, in early years? But it's thinking about when you're feeding that baby, is there an appropriate feeding chair for that staff member to sit in? And
are they well supported?
Yeah,
and that includes having arms. Don't just give them a chair without arms, because then they're going to have to hold their arm up and get arm ache while they're feeding. If you've got to feed a couple of babies in a day, then that's going to be a lot for you. Do we have low-level chairs at mealtime so you can truly engage with those children at mealtimes? And or are you having to sit on the floor and turn around, or
it's aches and pains?
And it's the smaller things that really add up, isn't it? And it's those little touches that show that you are looking after those staff members and you are thinking about what they have to deal with day to day.
So are you finding the uptake on apprentices greater than you were?
I think there's definitely been a shift in encouragement of them.
Yeah.
I'd definitely say there's an increase, and I think it also that's stemming from franchisees recognising the value of apprentices. So I definitely think there is an increase happening, and I also think when people are seeing the successful pass rates and that people, when students are working their way through it and actually getting to finish it and having those success stories. Franchisees are more inclined to be investing in that time and seeing the value
see
more.
The outcome of it, can't they?
So I definitely think that's increasing. I think we will see it increase more. For instance, we're going to be looking at play work, encouraging play work apprentices as well, because we do have some before and after school clubs and holiday clubs. So recognising the value that play work brings as well as early years. So pushing on that. So that's an apprenticeship scheme that we're going to be seeing more for. And leadership is another one that we're going to be pushing
encouraging
more on.
Managers to keep going with their CPD and to be part of leadership and management training and working with Eden to develop those skills, because they're needed when they're leading nurseries.
It's tough. You're not just becoming a more you've not just put the years in and the longevity, have you? You've got, it takes a skill set and a knowledge, a certain knowledge base, doesn't it, to become that successful leader. And you need the CPD and like the level 5 at least to really understand, what goes behind it, isn't it?
I think if you truly want to build a culture of CPD being a real strength of at your nursery, you have to commit to it yourself. You can't expect your staff to take part in CPD if you're not willing to do the same for you. So I think it's about, if they can see you doing that and you kind of focus on your CPD, your team are more likely to do it as well. So I think even without it not being like a brilliant thing for you to do for yourself, you can also see it as a great thing to do for your team.
For his team.
I think it goes.
So you understand what they're doing as well and what they're learning.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to that conversation we were talking about before about the staff's individual need. CPD for you might be watching a video, or in fact I know it's listening to an audiobook.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
For me, I personally, I love reading a book. I love holding a book. A Kindle for me is not a thing. I have to hold a book.
I'm a book.
But when Laura says she's been listening to an audiobook in the car, I say, how? But that shows our differences.
That's how I travel to a nursery. I'll listen to an audiobook. So this morning, before I was listening to A to Z therapeutic parenting. These are the sorts of things I'll listen to. One of my favourite ones to re-go over is There's No Such Thing as Naughty. I listen to these audiobooks so much in the car. And I love it. It just helps me re-engage with something. So it might be, I may have offered a nursery support endless amounts of times on supporting children's behaviour, but then it might be that I've been working on a project with a franchise. I haven't been doing that for a little bit, and actually even just hearing it myself after years and years and years of offering that support or doing it myself just refreshes my memory or makes me think of things in different ways or gives me new solutions. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think going back to those kind of Gen Z comments we had before as well, just the way that we learn or the way that I prefer to learn doesn't mean that next generation who is very video
I was
orientated.
going to say, it needs to be a YouTube video, doesn't it?
TikTok is a brilliant place for lots of young people, and especially if you've got apprentices, they will be sharing TikTok videos with each other. So as a manager, maybe scary, but get yourself on TikTok. So
Vet
you can
the
then
things first.
vet them first.
Also,
So then you can be sharing the right things.
Yeah,
I was at a nursery last week, and they were saying how they got a lot of their staff following a particular nursery that always looked beautiful and gorgeous, and it's just the most magical environment. And they were getting upset that they were finding it really hard to maintain. And it's because this nursery had obviously been on that journey of adding extra things. And, you don't just add thousands of things into a room and expect it to stay tidy on day one. You have to go on that journey through it. But they're seeing that nursery now, not where it was.
And also, that nursery room may change again in September and it be stripped bare.
Exactly.
Or not stripped bare, but
you may reduce those things and then bring them in as they're developmentally appropriate. And I think that this is where as managers, we have to see what they're seeing, watch it, and then have conversations with them, have those professional discussions, because we are in a generation where we are now starting to question what we're seeing on social media, which is great because we're not just taking it as gospel.
It's not on there,
especially with words of AI.
Definitely.
We do need to question what we're seeing, but I think we can help guide them through that and understand and explain that. Please don't be disheartened because what you've done to this environment is wonderful, but maybe it's because we've introduced too much too soon.
Yeah. But also embrace the fact that they're choosing in their spare time, their free time to continue on a work-related topic, isn't it?
And I think it is those questions of, what do you do in your spare time? How do you, how do you keep up with the news if you do? Or how, what is it that you enjoy doing? Do you like listening to music? Are you a visual person? Do you like to read? And then it's tailoring those CPD options to the different different person.
Giving a textbook to somebody who's constantly on the phone watching videos,
or knowing that individual needs. So that person might be dyslexic. So if I pass them the new EYFS and say, read that, let me know what you think, that's not going to go well for that person. But if I say, right, okay, I know this is your learning style. I know that you prefer to listen to key points. So here's a podcast that summarises the key points. Let's go from there. Then that would be better for that person. Definitely.
And I think actually something we're not very good at is knowing our learning styles. It's not something that many of us actually understand. It's something I've had to work very, very hard on as being dyslexic myself. It's something I've really had to understand the way my own brain works. And actually, some days it's very different to other days, depending on how much sleep I've had or how many distractions or how much pressure I'm under, how much time I've got. I will respond to different times, but I'm really in tune with that now because I've put that time and effort into getting to know my own learning styles. So I think what we also need to do as leaders is work with our apprentices to understand their own learning styles, so they are finding the appropriate time to be studying, the appropriate time to be learning, and putting all of that together, because it's not something that we all know naturally.
And I think that's one of the the great celebration points of apprenticeships, isn't it? You've got the flexibility to do that, isn't it? And learn and get your qualifications and and enjoy a career that you want to, without having all those blockers of a traditional learning path.
It
can be it can be so flexible.
I think the tutors at Eden have had a lot of praise as well.
Lots of praise.
I think different training providers have different ways of doing things, and I know a big factor for our apprentices across the network has been how well the tutors engage with the apprentices and the level of support that they have.
But again, us like you see that individual as an individual, and we adapt accordingly to that.
And I think that level of being able to adapt is the success story. Is what lots of the managers are feeding back to us. Is a highlight of theirs and why they enjoy working with Eden. And equally, I mean, the success stories we're having, we are seeing lots more stick to their apprenticeship. So that's wonderful to hear, to see and hear as well.
Yeah.
So
where previously they may have fallen behind or not wanted to complete that course, we're seeing the motivation changes and the ambition.
And we will narrow that gap. We will identify that quickly.
And I think that's the thing. Those conversations then happen.
Absolutely.
And we can turn from the difference of just you may be slightly losing that learner and a little conversation and re-engage and what a success you can have.
Absolutely. You know, and it's about giving them that, achievement of at the end, you did it. You really did it.
We have we hold a awards evening every year. So we have we call Midnight Moon.
Yeah, we were there last year.
Did you have a good time?
Even with that. Charlie went instead of me.
Are you coming this year?
I think Charlie's keeping my ticket.
I'm not surprised. It is an exciting night.
It's a very exciting
You need to work on them.
We're very proud of those nights. But we have, it's an incredible night, but it's for our network. It's not for us. It's to celebrate them and everything they do. We do have some special guests. Last year was David Walliams.
Yes,
so it was very exciting. It was very loud when he walked into the room, wasn't it?
Wow.
But one of the awards that we hand out on that night is for Apprentice of the Year. And it just recognises that person who really has shone in their learning, who has taken on everything that they've done in terms of their training, their own CPD, how they've adapted and kind of implemented everything they've learned into the nursery. And reading some of those nominations has just been, they are lovely. And the ambition of some of the apprentices as well is just wonderful to see. And it's because they feel supported.
And they can change a room, can't they?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
They can change a room for the better, can't they?
I went to visit a nursery a few months ago. They were working towards a healthy eating accreditation that they were achieving, or healthy living accreditation. Sorry. So I went to visit them to see how they were getting on with it, which was a really exciting visit. And their apprentice, who won Apprentice of the Year last year, which was lovely to see, and I got to speaking to her. She's now made room leader, and she's made this beautiful room, and she was telling me all of her ideas and sharing all of her knowledge with me, and I was like, wonderful. You are the future of early years, and it was just wonderful to see. And she's gone from apprentice to room leader in a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's because of her passion and knowledge.
It's just and that, along with the right support,
and I think that's
and
the
environment, and
they provide each one of their room leaders with a mentor to help them guide them through that. So even if they are early in their years, they get that experience and guidance to help them be that. So they're not left totally on their own until they're comfortable.
Sink or swim.
Exactly.
But that is the case for so many people, isn't it? Particularly in early years, like we were saying before, with people being given new roles or promoted into roles maybe more quickly than they would have historically. You can sometimes feel that you are in that situation a little bit of, I've just got to go.
I mean, I remember my first day ever as a manager. I stood in the office and I went, I don't know how to order milk. And it hit me. I had no idea. I had no idea what I needed to do. So I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, cool milk. I'm sure that's what it's called. Or is it another one? And I had no idea what to do. And bizarre that was the thing that I was like focusing on. But we've all been there. We've all been in a position where we don't know what to do about something.
Yeah.
I remember today. Yeah. It's
absolute. We're always learning, aren't we?
Yeah.
I remember my first ever day as an apprentice, and it was in a baby room, and I had arrived. By the time I'd done my induction booklet, which I did in about 2 hours, they said, off you go then. And I went into the baby room, and it was lunchtime, and they said, can you feed the baby? And I had never fed a baby before. I was 16 years old. I had never, ever fed a baby. And I remember on my break calling my mum and saying, I don't know if I can do this, Mum. She said, you can. Go back in, tell them you need help, and explain what you have and haven't done. And thank you to my mum, I did do that. And, I went on my journey, and I've had a wonderful career in early years. So it did work out for me, but I will never forget that feeling. And whenever there's a new team member in the network or a new apprentice that joins us, I just always remember just making sure to say, just ask if you've got any questions and we'll be there for you.
Starting a new role or a new job anyway,
absolutely.
isn't it?
I'd been dragged up through nurseries because my mum was an early years professional herself. So any time it was a TED day or anything like that, I got to go back and see my mum do it. And different world where you could just bring your child to work with you when I was little. So yeah, I watched my mum I was in awe of her and how incredible I thought it was that she got to engage with all of these little faces staring up at her and thinking everything she said was just wonderful. And I got to see that. So I think I'd seen so much of my mum doing it. By the time I got to do it, I was like, yes, I want to be that person.
I can do it now. You don't often bring your child to work day anymore, do you?
Well, it's again, you can't because of your registrations and insurance and all of that. It's not something you can do. I'm talking a long time ago. I got to go to work for my mum, but it was inspirational for me.
But they're intrigued, though, aren't they, children, as well? Because even mine as older teens, it's, what do you do? Can I come?
Yeah, they want to see.
They do want to see, don't they? They want to explore and delve into, adult life.
Yeah,
isn't it?
My younger sister followed in my footsteps, didn't she? She did an apprenticeship. I was the room leader at the time, and she came and did an apprenticeship, and she's now a nursery manager. And sometimes she rings me and says, "I can't do this." I say, "Yes, you can. You've got this."
That's it. We all need support, don't we?
Absolutely.
And it's
there. Yeah, and it's important, but. Even once you kind of keep going in your career, we need to keep learning. We need to keep reflecting and seeing how other people do things. And I think our relationship works so well because Laura and I are very similar and we've got the same values and morals, but we do think very differently, don't we? And that operations and early years, those brains do kind of, at times we will clash, but we always come to the same solution. Yeah. But it's great to be able to have somebody else's opinion and professionally discuss what's your opinion on that. Well, this is my view, and how do you see things?
It challenges your thinking as well, doesn't it? And that's good because you're not always going to be right.
No, absolutely not.
And also, there may be different scenarios and situations that you've just not considered just because you've never come across it, or you don't know what you don't know. Do you know?
And I think the other thing is actually sometimes I can, I'll say to you, "Oh, this has happened," and you'll say, "Oh, this is what I would do to that," and I say, "Funny that, because that's what I've done." And it gives you that reassurance that you've done it. Yeah. It's the same as when you go on a training course. Sometimes you go on a training course and you walk away thinking, I've not learned a huge amount today, but what I've learned is what I'm doing is right. Yeah. And actually that just gives you that security you need to know that you're doing the right thing.
Reassurance and confidence, isn't it? We all need lots of confidence given to us all the time to ensure, one, you're doing a good job. Yes, you're on the right track. And it just boosts you, doesn't it? Yourself, your well-being as well.
We were also talking about that the other day, weren't we? About the feeling of value and the feeling of praise. And everybody feels valued in different ways. So again, when you're thinking about your team or what they might need, how you feel valued or how you appreciate receiving praise might be different to another person. Yeah. I have somebody in my team who absolutely hates it when I say anything positive to her because she doesn't receive praise well. But she is an incredibly hard worker. She gets everything done. She works to a high standard. And I naturally feel like I should praise her and I should tell her how thankful I am for the work that she's done. But I can see every time she recoils because she hates hearing it. And that's just not her. And I was thinking, actually, I need to get to the bottom of how I can make sure that she feels appreciated in her role, but without the words, because it's
Goodie
obviously
box
hearing
on her
it.
desk now and again.
It's probably hearing it that she doesn't like. But it's important to work out how to make sure your whole team feel appreciated or valued in a way that's right for them.
It's, again, we were talking about earlier about learning how to manage individual people, but I think it's about learning how to appreciate individual people. And I think, again, it comes from building a culture where your staff team can share with you as a manager how their needs can be met.
Yeah. And what their skills are, their individual skills. You're a team. I might not be really good at something that you're really good at. So you take that task because you're better at that than me. And I will have another thing that I can shine in because my skill set is over here. Yeah. And I think
or learn from that strength. Yeah. Take your learning from it.
And I think we all need to, again, recognise our difference between each other, because when you're part of a big team, you may have people within the team that are working really hard on a project but not share what they're doing because they're the sort of person that's, you know, quite quiet in what they do. So behind
there's
their
an
work,
ownership issue
they're working really hard to create something, but a colleague may not know that that's what they're doing because they haven't shared that they're doing it because they're like, I need it to be a really good standard before I share what I'm doing, because if they ask me on it and I haven't got it to that stage, I don't want to be embarrassed or whatever it may be. But again, it's about you understanding where your team are and then trying to share that information out. And, you know, it's great to sit here and you know, say these things, but again, as I mentioned earlier, it's about giving yourself the time to put all of that into practice.
And that peer observation doesn't stop. You know, we learn from each other, but even in our network of support staff at the franchise, we go on observation visits with each other where I can say to somebody, I'd like to come with you and see how you do that when you're in a nursery, and vice versa with the other team members as well. And that goes all the way down through from our kind of support team at the office all the way down throughout our nurseries. And it's really nice to be able to see some of our network actually saying, hey, on the network call, you shared this. I'd love to come and visit you and see that.
And it's being done that positively, isn't it? Rather than a peer observation where it's done.
Yeah, it feels a bit formal and uncomfortable.
I think we actually, again, it's about selling peer observations differently. Peer observations should be a success story. They should be your opportunity to show off, show how great you are, show how wonderful you are performing. Just really celebrate yourself, and that's what. It's not comfortable for many of us, but that's what peer observation should be about. You should feel ready to share that, but equally ready to think, oh, what can I learn from you? And what, you know, when we do peer observations, for instance, as within my team, I'll go out and observe them once a year, but I also ask that they go and observe each other. So it's nice that they get different ones. And then I will say, actually, your approach from that visit was absolutely wonderful. It's a really difficult conversation you had to have, but you dealt with it sensitively, but still got your point across. Can you give that explanation to the rest of the team? Or I went to visit that nursery with you 6 months ago and their learning environments needed lots of work. You've given them that bespoke support. You've guided them. And then I observed you again today and look at the difference you've helped that nursery create. Let's share that success story. So you get to share those things as well. Or it might be that I find it quite difficult to sit back and just observe. So there will be times where I share things and I'll say something and then they'll go, oh, I hadn't thought about that. So they'll learn from me on those visits as well. And I think it's just really important to see them as a two-way learning opportunity.
And people see things differently as well.
Of course we do.
They? You know, what one person think was wonderful, you know, another person may think there's lots of learning that can happen from that observation.
We see that on our visits with the operations team and the early years team, don't they? Because the operations team go in with one mindset and the early years team go in with another. And sometimes we'll ring each other after visits and say, hey, have you ever noticed? And they say, no, never. You know, been going into that nursery for 4 years and just a new pair of eyes.
It's just not on your radar,
Well, I think it depends what you're going in to do. So we always, you know, most of it, we do 2 audits a year for each nursery, but other than that, it's all based on bespoke support about what that nursery needs. So if you're going in to do bespoke support around one thing, but it may be something different, you may not notice it, and because that of what your focus has been. Whereas if someone hasn't been to that nursery before, and you know, it could be down to, have you noticed that the time of day they go out at that time of day, the corridor becomes really busy or something. You say, well, actually, at that time of day, I'm normally in that room, which can't see that corridor. So you may not have seen it, whereas the operations department may have. So sharing that information, having those conversations can help develop us all, and maybe think, actually, let's change the way I do that. So don't always go around the nursery in that routine,
not in the same room at the same time every day.
Definitely. Another reflection point. We've done a lot of reflection, haven't we?
We like reflection.
Yeah, we do. We're very good at it. We do say that quite a lot. We say, right, we need to reflect. But it's what makes it work.
So thank you for joining me today. It's been some really great discussions, and I hope to see you again soon for another.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having us. We've loved it, haven't we?
Thank you for having us. It's been nice to just chat for a bit.